you know, thinking, gosh, the mistake, and being a parent, the guilt feeling. And we looked at one picture of it was a facial picture, and on Katie, her skull was cracked to a V, quite bad, and you could see that little tiny birthmark. It makes more sense now, too. It's comforting to me that when she was in the hospital, in ER, when we had held her, she was pretty bloody in that, and you know, at the time, too, we weren't thinking.
Oh, no. No, I don't think you blame yourself for that. I just think that you're in such shock and denial and all of that, and it's so terrible.
We had the guilt for...
Do you change the... Did you put a tombstone on? Did you change?
Yes, we stopped all, because we had already ordered the marker, and we had to stop everything and
redo it again.
Go through everything again, and
it was like another death all over again.
You know, awful once and then twice.
Right.
This just happened. What has kept you going?
I think the number one thing is the Lord. We believe strong in our faith, and our children, of course, our other children, and all the community people that came around and helped us, and our church community, the whole community we live in.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Really
People
does.
who've never been through it don't know what that support is.
I know
I couldn't have gone through it.
I know our main strength is really seeing the recovery of Kimberly.
How is she doing?
She's doing fantastic.
She's a little miracle.
She is
indeed.
What she went through, that poor little thing.
Kimberly, I told Kimberly that she was going to make her television debut. Come on now.
Yay.
Now, considering that she wears that helmet because of her head, right?
Yeah. That's
a miracle. You did very well on television, my dear. Very well. We'll be right back. Another set of triplets. Tell me about the experience of being a triplet.
Ours was pretty unique. We were the first surviving triplets at a local hospital, Parkview in Indiana. And so we got quite a bit of recognition, and as we grew up, wherever we went, if we went out to eat or anything, my parents always said, these are triplets, because we really didn't look a lot alike. We were fraternal. My brother and I, like I was telling you, are very, very close. We had a special bond.
Triplets always feel, twins and triplets feel like they're part of the same person. Right?
They are. They are. You do everything together. You grow up together. You have the same friends. You have, you know, you do everything together. We played ball together. You know, we were inseparable, you know, and it was just like you're friends as part of being a triplet.
More than a friend. It's something that nobody even has a name for. Now, every day you'd call each other on the phone?
My mornings are really hard because that's when I would talk to him every morning. And days that, that I knew something was wrong. If there was something bothering him, I just had that feeling.
You could tell there was something wrong. John died suddenly in a car crash. What has life been like without this attachment, this brother?
Well, a part of me's been, feels like it's been ripped out, you know, because he's not there anymore. And with the accident and everything that had happened, you know, he was very injured, seriously injured.
What happened in the accident?
Our father was driving the car, and he was taking him to work that morning, and the sun was in his face, and he couldn't see, and he went to turn, and a truck was there, and it hit my triplet brother's side, broadside, and it spun the car around and landed on top of a drainage tile.
Attend her funeral?
No, I couldn't. I absolutely could not go.
And it wasn't until 18 years after her death that you visited her grave?
Yeah, that's when it was. It was just last September that I went back, that I was able to go back emotionally. The first 4 years after she died, the first 2 years I was in shock, total shock. I don't know that I was aware of the fact that I was in shock until after I came out of it. And people used to say how brave and courageous I was. Well, I wasn't. I mean, my only other alternatives at that point seemed to be suicide or insanity, and at that point they seemed like non-viable alternatives. However, when the shock wore off, they seemed like extremely viable alternatives.
Explain that to us. First of all, how did your twin pass on?
It was a head-on automobile crash. Out of the blue, she and her husband were killed instantly, and her 5-year-old son was injured in the crash and survived, and he and I are real close now.
All right. And the idea, when you say you were numb and you couldn't even go to a funeral or you couldn't even visit, but everyone thought you were fine, what was that about? Are you inside looking out?
I don't think people understand twin loss. And if you are behaving in a socially acceptable manner, they don't have a clue. If I had gone, they would have put her in the ground and me in a padded cell. I could not have borne. And what it did was it enabled me to be in denial for just that much longer. I think that services serve a purpose, a real important purpose.
Why would he want to see your twin dead?
Well, Sally, he knew that if he murdered her, it would hurt me more.
Tell me about this man. Tell me
well,
about being married to him.
He was insanely jealous. He was jealous of my twin, and he allowed me to visit her once or twice a week, and things become unbearable. So I left him, and
How long were you married to him?
About a year.
Did you know any of this beforehand?
No.
Had he shown any kind of jealousy when you were courting?
He had, yes, he had signs of jealousy, but
You didn't
I
realize how
thought
that...
it would pass.
What happened that night?
Well, he broke into the house, my twin's house, and he walked over to me and he smiled an evil smile at me as if to say, I warned you I would do this, and walked straight to her and shot her in the back.
Just in order to make you...
In order to make me suffer.
That must have been an unbelievable experience.
It was more than unbelievable. I think I'm still in shock from it.
Surely. He had a gun?
A .44 Magnum. He shot her twice in the back.
She had no idea what was going on?
I think really she didn't, because before he had shot her boyfriend through the window and killed him, and as he fell to the floor, she embraced him and fell with him, and she didn't make us...
That sense of loss that we've been talking about?
I felt like I'd like to die.
As all of our twins or triplet has said. Can I ask...
My identical twin, Robert, was killed 44 years ago, and it's always as if it was yesterday. And I identify 102% with everything that's been shared here with your panel, because us twins, I think, and I can only speak as an identical because that's what I am, one half of us, we were meant by conception to be one birth product. And we appear physically in two personages and yet one. And twins have no vocabulary unto themselves. We're governed in a sense by the singleton world, which are all single birth products. And so I'm sort of frustrated in not having the appropriate words to tell you about the hurts that I hear. I identify perfectly with the words that these twins use, but they're not able to use perhaps words that are most descriptive of the depth and breadth of our pain. But
how did your brother pass on? What happened?
We were just 20 years old and a summer job, electrical lineman, and he was electrocuted in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I was on another power pole about 3 to 5 miles away, and I felt his electric shock. And I knew the moment that he died, and later when it was reconstructed through my brother who went up the power pole and brought my twin down dead in his safety belt, that it was the very moment that he took his shock. And